9:30, 1 minute. My circle is spinning, so I'm not sure if I'm actually recording yet, if I'm live. Now I'm live. Welcome everyone. Happy Thursday, my first Facebook Live video. So I will save this one because I'm going to want to watch it afterwards and find out if my lighting is okay and my volume is okay. So you'll get to watch this later if you can't make it today at 9:30. This is a 1-hour practice, and we only need a prop if you want something for your knees. We will do a couple hands and knee poses today, bird dog, lizard. So if you want to have a little mat or even a hand towel that you can put under your knees, you can modify the pose with a prop under your knees. You can also, if you cannot go down to your knees at all, you can grab a chair. I'm not going to show a chair today, but you can always put your hands on a chair. All right, let's get started with a hand gesture. Today's hand gesture is from American Sign Language, and it's the word for breathe. Take your hands in front of your chest and pulse out twice. Relax, roll your shoulders back. We'll do that one more time. Pulse twice. Relax, roll your shoulders back. We're going to go into a spinal warm-up here. I'm going to back up so you see me head to toe. We'll start in mountain pose. Make the number 11 with your feet. And we'll start with elongation. Inhale, stretch all the way up and float the arms down. Do that again. Inhale, stretch, lift the rib cage, and release. One more time. Lift and release. Going into standing cat and cow. Exhale, round your back, soft knees, tuck the chin. And now inhale, reverse, pinch the shoulder blades together, look up. Do that again. Exhale, standing cat. Inhale, standing cow. One more time. Exhale, standing cat, forward flexion. Inhale, standing cow, spinal extension. Relax, shake out those shoulders. Set your feet just a tiny bit wider. We're going to go into lateral flexion here. Both arms up overhead and start to laterally flex. Lifting one side of the rib cage and then the other. Think about the lifting motion and not the collapsing side. Think of the lifting side. Don't lean towards the screen. Keep your spine upright in the sagittal plane. We're only tilting in the frontal plane. Do one more and hold it to the right. And now take your left foot and come behind and add that deeper stretch. If you need some support, you can place your right hand on your right thigh. Lift up, bring those feet back to parallel, and we'll add the static lateral flexion on the other side. Arms up, laterally flex. Bring the right foot behind. Add some support to go a little deeper. And release, come back to the number 11. Finishing off with rotation, engage the abdominal muscles, shoulders down, slow motion sprinter. One arm forward and then the other. I'm not sure how the mirror image works on Facebook Live, so I am calling out right and left as if it were a mirror image. So I'm hoping that that works. But guess what? I have a fallback plan. Do one more each arm and then release. Behind me, I have a parrot. On the other side, I have a schnauzer. Hopefully you can see. Parrot is colorful, schnauzer is gray. So sometimes I'll call out parrot side, schnauzer side, and that'll help with right and left if I've got it wrong. Let's go into a layered cake. Today's layer cake is 7 layers. And it does have 2 balance poses in it. It has a one-legged mountain pose, and it has a tree pose. Now, if those poses are challenging, options, one-legged mountain, big toe can touch, and tree pose, big toe can touch. So that's your option if you need some help with balance. Energize the soles of your feet. Bring your hands to heart center. Roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to bear the weight on the left foot and lift your right leg up. One-legged mountain, and then release, mountain. Second time, one-legged mountain, release to mountain. One more time, one-leg mountain, and release to mountain. Next, we're going to add on a side lunge. So make sure you've got room. And I'm going to actually scoot over just a half a step there. So we'll be going from our one-legged mountain into our side lunge towards the parrot. Coming into one-legged mountain, side lunge to the parrot, make a T. Come back to mountain. One leg mountain, side lunge, arms to a T, back to mountain. One more time. One leg mountain, side lunge, and return to mountain. Adding on. This time we're going to stay in that side lunge and add some shoulder dips. We'll do 4 shoulder dips. One leg mountain, side lunge, and now shoulder dips. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to mountain. Again, one leg mountain, side lunge, T arms, and shoulder dips. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mountain. One more time. One leg mountain, balance, side lunge, and now mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to mountain. Adding on, our next layer is goddess squat. So after those shoulder dips with the wide legs, we'll just center the hips and come into goddess squat. One leg mountain, side lunge, and now mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, center, goddess. Lift the heels up. You can do it alternate or together 4 times. Here's alternating. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to mountain. Next time I'll do it together, but you can keep it alternating if you like. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, goddess, heels up, alternator together. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to mountain. One more time on this layer. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility across. 4, 3, 2, 1, center up for goddess, alternating or together, heels up. 4, 3, 2, 1, back to mountain. All right, from our goddess, we're going to add on our next layer, chair squat. So the hips will stay low. All we do is move the feet together back to our number 11. One leg mountain, and now side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, goddess, heels alternate or together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands to your heart. Keep the hips low. Step the feet together. And now the hips go up and down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise to mountain. Doing that 2 more times on this layer. One leg mountain. Side lunge. Mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess squat. Alternate or together heels. Lifting. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hips stay low. Hands to your heart. Hips up and down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise to mountain. One more time. One leg mountain. Side lunge. Mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess. Heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat. Hips. 4, 3, 2, 1. And rise up. Maybe generate a little heat in the body. I'll give you a water break when we finish before we go to the next side. 2 more layers. Next one is curtsy. So from that chair squat, we're going to take that right leg and go behind into our curtsy. So setting up our number 11 first. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess squat. Heel lifts, alternating or together. 2 more. Hands to heart center, chair squat, hips. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now take that right foot behind and throw your shoulders back. Curtsy. You can put your hands on your hips for this one. Come back to mountain. We're not going to move in our curtsy. We're just going to pause for a moment. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels up, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back, mountain. One more time on this layer. One leg mountain, side lunge, shoulders, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back, and mountain. We're going to finish with a balance move. From that curtsy, and this is a challenge because you're going to be bearing the weight on that forward foot, and the back foot has to come all the way up into tree. It could be a baby tree with the big toe touching, and I'll show it that way the first time, okay? And then the second and third time, if you want, you can come into a balanced tree. Here we go. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess squat, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back, and now bear all the weight on this left foot. Come into baby tree the first time, and then release. So you feel you really have to engage those core muscles to bring that foot up and out to the side. Next time, try it with the foot lifted, if you can. Listen to your body. 2 more times. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back, bear all the weight on the front foot, and tree. Release. One more time. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back. Be strong through that left foot. Engage the core and come into your balanced tree. And release. Good work, my friends. So that sequence is all about building up strength and stability and a little mobility, working on all 3. We're going to do that same sequence and allow our left leg to move. So give yourself a little bit of room towards the schnauzer so that we can step into that side lunge on our second layer. But the first layer is just one-legged mountain. So set your regular mountain, tall spine, shoulders back, inhale, exhale, one-leg mountain, and release. Second time, one-leg mountain, release to mountain. Third time, one-leg mountain, and release to mountain. Adding on side lunge, so that leg that's up in the air is going to go towards the schnauzer into side lunge. Hips go back. One leg mountain, side lunge, and mountain. Second time, one leg mountain, side lunge, and mountain. Third time, one leg mountain, side lunge, and mountain. Now we add on the shoulder dips. One leg mountain, side lunge, and we add that mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Mountain. Second time, one leg mountain, side lunge, and back to mountain. Oops, I forgot. My bad. We'll skip that fact that I added that extra one in there, and we'll go into that mobility. One leg mountain, side lunge, and mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, mountain. One more time. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mountain. Adding on our goddess with the heel lifts. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center the hips, cactus arms, and I'll alternate the heels the first time. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mountain. Second and the third, I'll do the heels together, but you don't have to. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels together or alternate. 4, 3, 2, 1, and mountain. Last one on this tier. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, and heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Mountain. Adding our chair squat, remember, hips stay low, and we just step that left foot back into center, making that narrow number 11. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, reach across. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center up, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Heart center, keep the hips low, step together, and now your hips pulse up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise to mountain. Twice more. One leg mountain, side lunge, reach across. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess in the center, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat and hips. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise to mountain. One more time. One leg mountain, side lunge, across, reaching. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Step together, hips. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rise up. Adding on, curtsy is next. Remember, we're just holding the curtsy for one breath. Shoulders are going to go back in that curtsy, opening the chest. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Step together, stay low with those hips and pulse up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands to your hips. Left foot goes behind, chest up, shoulders back, curtsy. Step together, mountain. Second time, one leg mountain, side lunge, mobility. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair, hips. 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back. Mountain. One more time. One leg mountain, side lunge, reach across. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goddess, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Chair squat, hips. 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, chest open, shoulders back. Working IT band strength here. Mountain. Last layer, tree pose. First one, I'll show baby tree with the big toe touching. Second and the third one, we'll come into balanced tree, if that's accessible to you. One leg mountain, side lunge, reach. 4, 3, 2, 1. Center up, cactus arms, heels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Step it together, chair squat, hips low, pulsing up, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curtsy, shoulders back, bear all the way down that right foot, coming to baby tree. Just see how that feels on the first one, and then release to mountain. Second and third time, if you want, you can come into a balance tree. You pick. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1, goddess, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1, chair squat, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1, curtsy, shoulders back, be strong, engage the core, think about balance through that right foot, and tree. Release. Last time, last side, yay. One leg mountain, side lunge, mobility, 4, 3, 2, 1, goddess, heels, 4, 3, 2, 1, chair, hips, 4, 3, 2, 1, curtsy, shoulders back, think about balance, pressing through that right foot, squeeze your navel, tree, and release. Shake it out. Good work, my friends. We did a lot of balance there. 7 layers times one-legged mountain times 3. That's 21 times we went into one-legged mountain on both legs. That's a lot. And then 3 times for tree at the end. Let's go into a little stretch here. A lateral flexion, stretching the side body, and then a quad stretch for the tops of the thighs. All right, lateral flexion, just like in our spine warm-up. You're going to take the right foot behind. Lift your right hand up, keep your left hand on the left thigh, and reach across for that lateral flexion. Think about stretching all the way down the right side body. One more breath cycle. And release. Bring the feet back to number 11. And we'll switch sides, taking that left foot behind. Right hand stays on the right thigh as the left arm goes up. And we're tilting towards the parrot. Breathe. One more breath. And release. Step back to number 11. We're into 2 quadricep stretches here. It's one with balance and one without. We'll do the without balance first. And that way, if you want, you could do that one a second time if it's difficult for balance. All right, take your right foot back. The ball of the foot and the toes are on the mat. The heel is lifted. And just slightly bend into that knee. Both knees are slightly bent. And now throw the shoulders back and push the hips forward. So you're still balancing here. Even though it's a small stance, our feet are separated. We're stretching to the top of the right thigh. Step together, second side. Step your opposite leg back. Ball of the foot and the toes are on the mat. Heel is lifted. Bend into both knees. Throw your shoulders back and push the hips forward. Breathe. And step together. After all those goddess squats and chair squats, that'll feel nice for those quads. Doing a second quad stretch, you can do it the same that we just did, or you can add the balance component, always working on our core stability. Bearing the weight on your left leg, we'll stretch the right quad first. Go ahead and pick that foot up, grab it with one or both hands, and draw that heel close to your bottom. Tall spine, open chest. Breathe. One more breath cycle. And release. That's a little bit deeper stretch than that other stretch where we had both feet on the ground. Same thing, opposite side. Bear the weight on the right, lift the left. Grab the foot with one or both hands. Draw the heel to your bottom. Open the chest. Tall spine. Breathe. And release. Go ahead and shake it out. We are done with our standing poses. We're going to take it down to the mat. So if you want to move your screen down, I'm going to come towards the screen and do the same. Everything else is going to be on this view. So So you only have to move your device one time. Go ahead and have a seat. Extend your legs long in front. Tall spine. Let's check our range of motion first, and then we'll do a bunch of stretches, and then we'll do this seated forward fold a second time. So bring your hands below your knees, folding from the hip crease, not from the waist like this, but moving the whole upper body forward, hands resting below the knees, draw the elbows down, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and just see how that feels. Tightness in the hamstrings, maybe the hips or the low back. We're off 3. We'll do some stretches for all of it. Lift all the way back up. Remember how that felt, and we'll do that again after we do some stretches. Let's go into half Lord of the Fishes first. Draw your right foot in. If you had a snack recently and you're feeling kind of full, then you may not want to cross over because that tightens up the abdominal cavity. So you can do half Lord of the Fishes with the foot on the outside of the leg and twist into that bent knee. Or for the deeper stretch, go ahead and cross it over, lift up through the rib cage and turn and hug that knee into your body. We're looking towards the parrot. Breathe. We're going to add shoulder mobility to this. So extend that right arm forward and just sweep the mat. Just gently sweep like there's some dust on the mat and you just want to sweep it off. You can stay here or you can bring that arm up to shoulder height and fan the air front to behind. You can stay here or you can rainbow up and above. You pick. Just working on shoulder mobility here, moving the synovial fluid across that shoulder joint. One more. And then hug the knee again, wherever you were. Sit tall, hug it a little tighter. See if you can change your stretch. And then release to face front. Going into figure 4 stretch. So bring your hands behind you. Let that right foot float so the ankle is resting on the leg, but the foot is floating, and then bend your left knee. Set up your stretch for your body, targeting that right hip so you can have that foot closer to your screen or closer to your hips. You pick. Wiggle the toes. Remember, we're not trying to contract those feet muscles. We don't want to overly flex or overly point. Just relax. Let your hips become more heavy on the mat. Feel that sinking and then feel that stretch change. Deep muscles, gluteus medius, piriformis. Close your eyes for a minute. And just take one more breath cycle here. Open your eyes. We're going to add a strength component to this pose. So make sure you externally rotate. So pinch your shoulder blades together. And we're going to pick the hips up just a half an inch, hardly perceptible that the hips are coming off the mat 3 times. Lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Extend those legs out. Shake it out, shake out the knees and come into an open angle pose. Remember, you can be narrow with your V shape or you can come a little wider. You pick. Tall spine. Folding from the hip crease, hands come in front of your body, draw the elbows down. The whole upper body is reaching towards your screen. Your elbows could rest on your thighs if you like. If it's accessible, you can crawl forward another palm print and draw the elbows closer to the earth. Breathe. Stretching through inner thigh and groin, as well as hips and low back. Working all 3 of those areas that become tight in the body. One more breath cycle. And crawl your hands back towards your body. We're going to go into head to knee pose, and we're going to add stargazer at the end of that sequence. So as you come into head to knee, draw your right leg, the one closest to the parrot, so that that foot is against the inner thigh. You want to make sure this knee is on your mat. So you might have to scoot back a little if you're not on the mat. Or if you're on carpeting, you're probably okay. So just make sure there's a cushioned area under that bent knee. And now turn towards the straight leg. Once again, folding from the hip crease, bring your hands below the knee, draw the elbows down. Your entire upper body is stretching towards that foot. Think about even your navel is trying to reach towards that foot, lengthening the spine, making space between the vertebrae. Breathe. Let's add 3 awareness breaths to this. And that means we're going to deepen the stretch, but then come back to this safe spot that you're in right now. Inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. Inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. One more time. Inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. Adding shoulder mobility. Keeping your left hand on your left leg. Sweep that right arm up to the sky. Lift up the chest and touch the earth behind you. Return. We'll do that twice more. Shoulder mobility. Listen to your body, range of motion. The arm may not go above the head if you've got some shoulder issues. You can keep it here. Listen to your body. And now return, and we're going to add that single stargazer pose. So starts the same, lifting that right arm up or in front of you, bring it behind. Plant that right hand. Now lift your left arm up. Look at those fingertips in the sky. You can stay here with the hips on the mat, or you can lift the hips up, coming onto that right knee for stargazer pose. Breathe. One more breath cycle. And bring it all the way down. Return to that leg. And now you can stay here. We're going to add one more sequence here, and that pose is bird dog. And that's a pose that's on your right knee. Now, if that is going to bother your knee, then just stay here for a few extra breath cycles. Or if you want, you can join me in bird dog. Maybe you want to add your little cushion or pad under that right knee. Turn towards the bent knee. Bring your hands to the mat. And then sweep that left leg behind you. Plant your hands so that your wrists are under your shoulders. Make sure you're lined up here. Adjust. You want your knees and hips in a line, and you're looking slightly forward. Push into the earth. Spread your fingers wide, and then float that left leg up off the mat. Go into bird dog pose. Now, if you've got room, and I have a wall right in front of me, but you could even do a little bent arm balance variation here. Or if you've got room, you can extend that left arm, your right arm, all the way forward. I'm going to have to be bent here because of the wall. Keep pushing into the earth with that opposite hand, lifting up away from the shoulder. Breathe. If you've lifted one arm, put it back down, and we'll do one variation here called bird dog bow 3 times. Elbows, you want to bend them backwards. Don't let them splay out to the side. Go back towards your hips 3 times. Bend and lift. Bend and lift. Bend and lift. Lower that left leg, and we're coming back into our head to knee pose. And maybe if you didn't join us, then we're all back in the same spot here. Go ahead and lift all the way up. Extend those legs forward. Shake it out. We're going to do that same entire sequence on the other side. So we started with half Lord of the Fishes. Draw that left foot in. Again, you've got a full tummy. Maybe you don't want to cross it over. But if you want the better stretch, or the deeper stretch, I should say, not necessarily better, because if it's not better if your tummy is full and you're going to feel cramped. But if you can go into the deeper stretch, cross that ankle over, lift up through the rib cage, turn and hug the knee into your body, looking towards that schnauzer on the opposite side or to my outside windows. Breathe, shoulders relaxed. And we added some shoulder mobility in this pose too, working on that shoulder mobility today. We did it in our layered cake too with that reach across, so lots of shoulder mobility today. Reach that left arm forward and then just sweep the dust off your mat. Remember, you can stay here or add that motion at shoulder height, fanning the air. And if it's accessible, you can make it the rainbow motion. Enhancing that mobility through the shoulder joint. One more pattern. And hug that knee into your body again. Both arms hugging the knee. Hug it a little tighter. Feel that change the stretch. Breathe. And face forward. Going into our figure 4 stretch. Let the ankle rest on the right leg. The foot is floating. Bring your hands behind. And start to bend that right knee. Adjust for your stretch. Listen to your body. Totally up to you. You're the only one that knows what's going on in that hip for your stretch. So if it feels too tight, if you bring that foot close, or maybe even the hips are right next to the heel, if that's too tight, then you're not giving yourself a benefit. Remember the rubber band? If the muscles are too tight and we try to stretch them, we're just going to break something, like breaking the rubber band. So make sure the muscles are loose and relaxed to add to your stretch. Breathe. Relax the toes, wiggle, relaxing the muscles of the feet. Heavy hips, feel that change the stretch just by setting your mind to the heaviness in your hips. And now we're going to go into the strength variation of this pose. So if you're in the maximum with your hip right next to your heel, maybe back it off just an inch or so. Externally rotate your shoulders as if you're pushing your shoulder blades together, pinching them together, and we'll do 3 very small lifts, a half an inch or an inch at most. Lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Extend both legs out. So working on shoulder strength there, so complementing shoulder mobility with shoulder strength. Let's come into our open angle. Move the fleshy part of your bottoms away from your sits bones. Sit tall, and we'll fold from the hip crease, bringing the entire upper body towards your screen, and let your hands rest on the earth. Draw the elbows down, feeling that stretch. Option to crawl another palm print closer to your screen. Let those elbows relax down again. Feel the stretch, enhancing the ability for your muscles to elongate. One more breath cycle here. And then crawl back towards your body, and we'll do the head to knee pose, Janu Sirsasana, on the other side. Left knee bends, draw that foot in towards the right inner thigh. Adjust your position. Make sure you've got a little cushion underneath that left knee because we'll add that stargazer pose at the end of that sequence. Turn towards your extended leg, fold from the hip crease, and bring your hands below that knee. Draw the elbows down. Make sure your left sits bone isn't pulling up off the mat. Push it down into the mat. Breathe. You can bow your head here, but keep the entire upper body reaching towards that right foot. We're going to add those 3 awareness breaths, deepening our stretch, challenging our stretch to go a little deeper, and then coming back to the safe spot that you're in right now. Inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. Second time, inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. Third time, inhale, deepen. Exhale, relax. Adding shoulder mobility. Remember, if you have shoulder issues, you can sweep in front, or if it's okay for you, accessible, you can sweep overhead. Bring that left arm up, lift the chest, touch the earth behind you, and return. And all the way back to the right leg. Do that again, lifting up, touch, and return. One more time, up, and touch, and come all the way back. And pause here. We're going to go into the stargazer, single stargazer pose. Starts the same. Lift that arm up or fan it in front, whatever's right for you. Plant the hands, spreading the fingers wide. Lift the right arm up. Look up at the fingers up in the sky. You can stay here, hips on the mat, or lift the hips coming onto that left knee. Breathe, open through the pelvis. Take one breath cycle here. And then exhale, lower the hips, return both arms back to that right leg, and pause here in head to knee pose. Now we're going into that bird dog. So once again, if it's not good for your knees to be on a single knee in bird dog, then just stay here. You can take several breath cycles here. You can pretend it's a yin class and just spend several long breath cycles in this pose and get a nice deep stretch on the hip and low back. Or join me in that strength component, bird dog. Turn towards your bent knee, plant the hands on the mat. If you need a little cushion, go ahead and tuck it under the knee. Sweep that right foot onto the mat, long leg behind you. Spread your hands wide, lift up off the shoulders, and then float that right leg, that straight leg up in the air. Flexing the foot. Make sure your knees, I'm going to adjust there. I'm checking my alignment. I want to make sure that the knees and the hips are aligned. Push into that mat. You can stay here with both hands in this variation of bird dog, or you can take that left arm forward. Again, I got furniture here or maybe floated above. Opposite hand, you're still pushing into the earth, lifting up off of that shoulder for bird dog. Balanced bird dog here. One more breath cycle. And we're going to put the hand down, but keep the leg up in the air. When we do our bird dog bow, make sure the elbows are going back towards your hips and not out to the sides. 3 times. Bow and lift. Bow and lift. One more. Bow and lift. Bring the toes down. Set your hips down and return you back into head to knee pose. And if you are still here, we're all back in the same spot. Breathe. Crawl back towards your body. Sit tall. Extend both legs forward. Give it a little shake. And we are going to go back into that first seated pose that we did, that seated forward fold, just to see if we've added some range of motion or maybe just a little more ease in getting into the pose. Hands below the knees, folding from the hip crease, bringing the entire upper body towards the screen, and see if it feels a little different than the first time we did this pose 15 minutes ago or whatever it was. Crawl back to sit tall. We're going to go into another kneeling sequence. This is a lizard sequence. We'll do cat-cow first, and then we'll come into a lizard pose, which is a low lunge. 2 options: to stay off the knee if you need to. Your lizard could be a higher lunge with the knee lifted, or you could put your hands on a chair with the knee lifted to keep off the single knee. You pick. I'm going to show the version with being on the mat with a single knee. So if you want, you can still use your little pad. So let's turn towards the parrot. Coming into cat and cow, so if you need that little pad for your knees, go ahead and tuck it under both knees. Spread your hands wide. And we'll do a few cat and cows. Here you could be with your hands on a chair so that you can come off your knees. You pick. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, round your back, cat stretch. And now reverse the curve. Belly down, chest forward. And go at your own pace. Cat and cow. Exhaling cat, inhaling cow. You can deepen the range of motion by drawing the elbows, maybe touching the elbows to the earth as you transition between the 2 poses. Working on spinal flexibility here, mobility. One more pattern of cat and cow. And coming back up to your table pose. We're going to go into our lizard lunge here. So I'm still your mirror image, I'm hoping. And you're going to step your right leg forward towards that parrot and bring both hands to the inside. Now if you need to come off of the knee, you could lift the knee right here. Or you could lift the knee and put your hands on a chair. So you pick. I'm showing the option with the knee on the mat to start. Going into lizard lunge, start to bend and straighten the elbows. Take the toes on the back foot and let the toenails touch the mat. Relax those toes, unless you're off of the knee and then you need to have the toes engaged. Pause with the elbows bent. The elbows bend straight back and not out to the sides. Bow the head. Look at that leg behind you. Lizard lunge. If you want, here you could add a
component of coming off the knee and get a little deeper stretch through the psoas on the straight leg. One more breath cycle. And we're going to go into open lizard, so you can bring the knee back down, toenails touch the mat, straighten your elbows. That foot that's in front, you want to take that big toe off the mat by rolling to the outside edge of the foot. Opening the knee away from the shoulder, just an inch or two. And we're adding a stretch to the gluteal area and the groin. One more breath cycle. And bring that big toe back down to the mat. We're going to go into twisted lizard. You're going to be looking away from your device for this twist. That's okay. Once you set it up, you don't need to see, because I won't change anything while we're looking away. Keeping that left hand on the mat, the hand that's closer to your front foot, your right hand, lifts up to the sky, and you're turning away from your device. Open the shoulder, open the armpit. If you want to come off the knee again, option you pick. One more breath cycle. And bring the hand down, knee down. Tuck that knee behind you. And sink back for child's pose, a little stretch. And we'll do that same lizard sequence on the other side. Pull yourselves forward. Opposite leg comes forward, should be your left leg if I'm mirror imaging you correctly. Hands into the inside of that foot, so the hands are right next to each other. And then start to bend and straighten the elbows. Remember, option, you can pick up the back knee if you need to. Hands could be on a chair to help if you need to. But if your knee is on the mat, let the toenails touch the mat, relaxing the top of the foot. Pause with your elbows bent. Bow your head, look at the leg behind you. Option here, if you want to come into your knee lifted variation, you can. We're stretching all the way around the thigh on this forward leg. One more breath cycle. And if the knee is lifted, you can lower it. Come into open lizard, straighten your elbows. Look down at that forward foot and peel the big toe off the mat by rolling to the outside edge of the foot. The knee is falling towards your screen. One more breath cycle. And bring that big toe back down. We're going to twisted lizard. So keeping your right hand on the mat, the left hand, which is the same foot that's forward, lifts up to the sky. This time you're twisting towards your screen so you can see me. And if you want, you can come off of the back knee if you want. That's just an option. Adds a little extra stretch for the psoas. Take 2 breath cycles here. And bring that hand down, lower the knee, tuck the foot behind you, and sink it back into a little child's pose here. Bow the head. We're going to add a little rotation of our child's pose, adding a little deeper stretch for that QL muscle, quadratus lumborum, and the hip. So walk your hands towards your screen and push the hips away. Bow your head, maybe rest the chin against your shoulder. And we'll switch. Walking the hands away from your screen, push your hips towards your screen, bow your head. And come back to midline. We're going to do one last little strength segment before we come onto our backs, and that's just a down dog plank 3 times. So come into table, spread your hands wide, step back into plank, engaging your toes. Now if you need to, your plank might have your hips a little higher. That's okay, that just means you're starting down dog a little early. Whatever you do, don't let your hips sag down. So really think about pushing in to the earth, lifting up out of your shoulders. It's better to have your hips too high than to let them sag. And let's go into down dog 3 times. Exhale, down dog. Lift through the armpits. Inhale, plank, float forward. Second time, exhale, down dog. Lift through the armpits. Inhale, plank. Last time, exhale, down dog. Lift through the armpits. Inhale, plank. Knees down. Hips down. And we're transitioning into lying on our back poses. So send your feet to the skinny end of your mat. Articulate the spine to come down, unless you're already there, maybe beat me to it. But if you can, slowly articulate one vertebra at a time, and then all the way down. When you make it there, hug your knees and do a little upside down child's pose, maybe a little sway if that feels good. Let your shoulders fall back into the mat. And we'll do a few extra stretches here. Plant your feet flat on the mat. We're going to go into half windshield wipers. So let your hands rest on the mat. Pick up your left leg, the one that's closest to your screen, and cross that leg over the right. If you've got room and you can add some T shape to your arms for stability, you can, or you can make cactus arms over your head. We're going to lower the legs towards the screen and then back to this position here. We're only going halfway. Towards the screen and back up. Go at your own pace. Make sure both shoulders stay connected to your mat. We're adding a little stretch for the outer thigh and into the IT band here. Keeping the right foot on the mat. We're rolling onto the inside edge of that right foot. And now the next time you roll towards the screen, pause here. Keep your knees low but uncross. And now stack your feet and knees. Open belly twist. Both shoulders still on the mat. You can even help that by looking up at the ceiling. Don't look at the screen for a second. Just look straight up at the ceiling. Open belly twist. Option if you want to add a hip stretch. The top leg, draw that knee towards your chest. Keep it bent. And then maybe just grab the calf or the foot, holding that knee a little closer to the chest, deepening the stretch through the hip. Breathe. One more breath cycle. And release. Inhale the knees to center. Adjust your low back. Make a nice connection to the mat. And we'll go to the other side, the leg that's furthest from your screen, your right leg. Pick it up, cross. And now we're going to drop away from your screen and back to this center point. Drop away, lift back. Go at your own pace. Rolling on the inside edge of the left foot as you move the knees away from your screen. One more breath cycle. And now the next time your knees are rolled away from your screen, pause there, keep the knees low, uncross your thighs, and now stack the knees and the feet. Keep that nice open chest and shoulders connected to the mat. Look up at the ceiling here. You don't need to look at the screen for a moment. Feel the rotation between the spine and the pelvis. If you want to add that deeper hip stretch, let the top leg just float towards your chest. Keep the knee bent. Just bring it closer to your chest. You don't even have to grab it. You're already deepening the stretch, but if you want, you could grab the calf or the foot and draw that knee a little closer, but maintain the connection, both shoulders still connected to the mat. Breathe. One more breath cycle. Stack the knees, inhale the knees to center, readjust your low back onto the mat, hug both knees into your chest, maybe add a little sway. Just a few more stretches here before we're finished. We just did a nice stretch for the outer thighs and hips there, so now let's get the backs of the thighs and the inner thighs. Let's start by straightening out the leg that's closest to the screen. Send that foot to the bottom of the mat, hug that knee into your body. We're stretching the psoas on that straight leg. Let's go into a hamstring stretch for the bent leg. by straightening it up, bringing your hands behind either the calf or the thigh. And now my shoulders picked up a little bit, so pull them back down. Pull the legs slightly towards you. Keep the knee as straight as you can. Breathe, stretching the back of the thigh. Those shoulders stay connected to the earth. One more breath cycle. Bend the knee and open the knee away from the screen. Inner thigh groin stretch. Guiding the bent knee away from the screen with the same hand. One more breath cycle. Bring the knee back to center and we switch legs. Straightening out that right leg, hugging the left knee in. Giving that stretch for the psoas on the straight leg. Shoulders rolled back and down. And we'll start with a hamstring stretch, so straighten out that leg. Bringing the hands behind the calf or the thigh. Shoulders roll back down into the mat. Look up at the foot, up in the air. You don't need to look at the screen for a moment. Relax your jaw. Relax your head and neck. Breathe. One more breath cycle. And draw the knee into your chest. Guide that bent knee towards your screen, opening the knee, opening the inner thigh groin, lengthening those muscles. And then look up at the ceiling again. Relax the neck. You don't have to turn towards your device right now. Breathe. One more breath cycle. Pull the knee back to center, both knees into the chest. We're going to finish with happy baby before we go into relaxation. So separate your knees and feet wide, flex the feet, and allow the soles of the feet to look up at the ceiling. Crawl your hands up to either grab your shins, your ankles, your big toes, or the soles of the feet. And now draw those bent knees closer to your armpits and pull those shoulders down into the mat. If you want, add a little sway. Or you can remain stationary, you pick. Don't look at your screen, look straight up, relax the neck. Go ahead and yawn. Stretch those facial muscles. Breathe. One more breath cycle. Return the arms to the mat. One at a time, bring your feet to the mat. And we're going to go into relaxation here. So if you'd like, you can allow the knees to rest against each other. You can straighten the legs out. Palms can be open to the sky. You can roll onto your side for sideline fetal position. I'm going to sit up just so my voice continues to project, but totally up to you, whatever relaxing pose you want to come into. Let's take a little visual relaxation, a visual in your head. Imagine that there are two trees perfectly spaced for a hammock. Maybe your trees are up in the mountains, some beautiful hardwood trees. Or maybe your trees are at the seashore, some beautiful palm trees. Wherever you are, picture a beautiful spot in nature where you have two trees and someone has already done the work to set your hammock up. You don't even have to do any work. You just slide your body into that hammock and let your body just totally relax into the fabric of your hammock. Close your eyes. Let the fabric of the hammock cradle your body. All your muscles relaxing. Enjoy your place in nature, whatever you visualized. Picture the beauty of your spot. Whether it's the water, maybe a lake or the ocean, maybe it's just the trees or a meadow. Maybe you can smell the freshness in the air. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. Take 2 more breath cycles here. And we'll make our way out of our hammock. Unfortunately, it's time to come out of our hammock return to a seated pose by either rolling to your side and pushing off the earth, or do one sit-up if you want to add one last little strength pose, one sit-up to come back into your seated pose, facing your screen. My quote today, we started off with that gesture, breathe. So take one more deep breath here, and I'll share my quote today. It's about always doing your best. It's from Bill Murray, and I know he's a comedian, right? So there might be a comic twist to this quote. Whatever you do, always give 100% unless you're donating blood. If you're donating blood, then keep a little bit back for yourself. My friends, bring your hands outside your hips. Inhale to the sky, let your thumbs touch, your mind, your spirit, breath in your body. The spirit in me honors the spirit in all of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to scoot forward as I wave goodbye and end our practice today. Namaste.